Do you know what it feels like to live in a splendidly luxurious castle, wearing extravagant dresses, indulging in exquisite dishes, and always having servants take care of you? Well, actually, I don't really know either. I'm just a little maid who's fortunate enough to be friends with Princess Anne. Oh, by the way, my name is Diana, and I was born in the palace of a small European kingdom. Sounds like a fairy tale, doesn't it? Well, I don't exactly live a fairy tale life. I'm only here because of my mother, Stella. She had devoted her entire life to serve the queen, so in return, I was allowed to live in the castle. And when I grew up, I became a servant to Princess Anne, who was just a few ages older than me, so we immediately hit it off. Ironically, though, I'm not quite cut out to be a servant. I'm a bit, maybe very clumsy, and I tend to be less helpful than I actually should. When all is quiet, it's likely that I've just hidden myself away in the library, lost in its endless sea of books. It would be more fun if Anne was just as happy to spend time in the library as me, but she doesn't care much for reading or studying. She said it makes you age like crazy. But still, she must attend her mandatory classes, by the Queen's order, of course, although she'd much better enjoy cooking, cleaning, and decorating. So whenever there weren't ice on us, Anne and I would help each other out. I would sneak into her classes, listen to the tutor attentively so I could help her with assignments later. In return, she'd help me with the palace's errands. Anne was how I imagined having a sister is like. We just got each other's back. I knew the real Anne. I supported her passion for baking even when her own mother forbade her, and I was the only one who knew about her big crush on Count Harold, who often came bearing tributes from the people. Anne was so kind that she always gave me plenty of good food to share with Mom and other maids. But Mom wasn't too thrilled about this. For some reason, she was always anxious seeing how close me and Anne were. Don't forget your place, Diana. Princess Anne is still royalty, and you're just a little maid. Be sure you never cross the line with her. She's just trying to help us, Mom. Don't worry, I'll be careful. Then one day, Anne found a beautiful vintage dress from her closet and convinced me to try it on. I agreed, and once I stepped out of the changing screen, Anne was amazed. See, you'd make such a gorgeous princess. Did I ever tell you you remind me so much of my aunt, the late Queen Mary? I don't have much memories of her, but I've seen her picture in the royal family tree, and you very much share the same aura with her. I wish, Anne, but if I were a princess, I would have people do whatever I want. Like, fetch me my robes, servant, and when you're finished, my toes could use a salt bath. We were just messing around when Mom came storming in. Diana, how dare you desecrate the princess? I told you not to cross the... She didn't finish her words, but fell to the ground, holding her chest in pain. I rushed over to her as Anne ran to the hallway looking for help. Mom! Diana, I need to tell you something. No, Mom, save your strength. The doctor will be here any minute now. No, Diana, you listen to me. I've been hiding the truth from you your entire life. It's time you learn. What? What do you mean? I'm not your birth mother, Diana. Just find my safe, okay? The answers are there. And don't tell anyone. She took one last breath before closing her eyes. The doctors rushed in, but it was too late. She had a heart attack with a pre-existing heart condition, so she didn't stand a chance. I spent the next week doing nothing except grieving my mother's passing. It didn't even bother me that we were not genetically tied. In my eyes, Stella was my mother, the only family I had. She loved and cared for me more than anyone else ever could. It hurt to even be here in her room, feeling her presence surrounding this place. But as I was going through her stuff, I accidentally stepped on a section of the floor that sounded hollow. It immediately sprung open, revealing a secret cellar underneath. The first thing I noticed was an intricate key-shaped necklace. Next to it was a letter, unveiling that this was an heirloom from my birth mother, who was none other than Queen Mary herself. Even more shockingly, she was still alive. On the day I was born, by Miranda's order, I was separated from Queen Mary, and she was held captive in the castle's dungeon. If it weren't for her pleading Miranda not to harm me, I might have been thrown into some orphanage far away. Instead, I was placed in Stella's care, as Miranda wanted to keep a close eye on me to prevent any chance of betrayal. Stella had regretted following Miranda's order ever since, as she grew to love me like her true daughter. She wanted to run away with me, but the thought of Miranda finding out and putting her family in danger stopped her. But she'd hoped that one day I'd be reunited with my mother. None of this felt real. My hands were still shaking as I held the letter. I need the answer to all my questions. I owed it to my mother to fulfill her dying wish. That night, following the instructions my mother left in her letter, I pretended to be a maid bringing food to prisoners and went down the secret tunnel. There were no guards in the large abandoned prison, only a thin, emaciated woman. Slowly and carefully, I approached her. "Are you Queen Mary?" I handed her the necklace. The woman's eyes lit up, and she looked up at me in shock, tears welling in her eyes. "Diana." I nodded. She pulled me into her arms and cried in joy. But then she abruptly pulled away from me. "What are you doing down here? Miranda is going to find out. It's too dangerous. You need to leave." "It's okay. No one knows I'm here. They won't find me." "Still, it's too risky. My sister is an evil woman. She always wanted to be the queen. So she picked the day I was at my weakest to imprison me, subdue you, and falsely declared my demise during childbirth. That's how she eliminates any obstacles that stop her from seizing the kingdom. But Miranda will never be the queen in people's heart. She's nothing more than an oppressor, and it pains me to know she has corrupted our kingdom. But you are here now, Diana. You're the true heir to the throne. You have to stop Miranda." "Me? I still haven't dared to believe any of this is real. I grew up just a little maid who's never been formally educated. What can I possibly do to overthrow someone in control of an entire country?" "Diana, I'm sorry I couldn't give you a better childhood, but I know, deep inside, you are a strong, resilient girl. Stella told me all the time how smart and bright you are, as she brought me food. Me and her both believed in you. You have the power to make things right." My mind was still swirling with all this new information, things that just seemed impossible, unbelievable. "I understand why you might be doubtful, but here, leave the palace and test your DNA against mine. Once you confirm your identity, you can decide what to do next, but you can't stay inside the castle any longer. 'Cause once Miranda finds out you know the truth, she won't leave you alone." I hesitated for a moment, but I knew what needed to be done. So, early in the morning, I packed up some belongings and grabbed some food before sneaking into a freight truck that was about to leave. But then I suddenly bumped into someone.
"Hey, watch where you're going!"
"Shh! Keep it down!"
"Why? Don't tell me you're some kind of thief."
"No, I'm a maid. I'm just not allowed to go outside the palace. But, the princess desperately wants to make a Dutch chocolate cake, and the storage is out of ingredients, so I need to go to market."
"And did you plan to sneak into my truck and have a free ride there?"
I didn't know it was your truck, but if you can help me, that would be lovely."
"And what would I get in return?"
"My company."
"Fair enough. It's a lonely ride. By the way, what's your name?"
"Diana. What's yours?"
People call me Harry. Now let's get going."
We hopped into the truck, and Harry turned out to be not such a bad companion. It was nice to have someone else my age to talk to for once, especially a handsome one. Then he turned on this music that's called pop. I swear, it was so good, I couldn't help grooving along.
"This song is my favorite. Do you know it?"
"Nope. The Queen doesn't even allow us to own a radio."
"Oh, wow. Maybe I can sneak one in for you."
I would absolutely love that. After a while of driving, we took a break in the forest to stretch our legs. I shared with Harry some cookies and baked earlier today, when suddenly a snake coiled around the lower part of my leg and sunk its teeth into it. Pain immediately shot up. Moments later, Harry dislodged the snake and threw it away. Then he leaned over, sucking the venom out of my wound without hesitation. I blushed, both confused and flattered. He grabbed some clean cloths in the truck and helped me bandage the wound.
I'm sorry, that was weird."
No, that was kind of you. And I really hate to say this, but I don't think the snake is poisonous. I read about it in a book once, but still, thank you for saving me. His face turned bright red even for minutes later. It was so cute. We then continued our journey. When we arrived in an aristocratic area where people seemed to be living in luxury, I began to doubt that the kingdom was as poor and in bad shape as Queen Mary had said, until we arrived at the commoner community. I was taken aback by the small buildings and houses that were old and crumbling. The market was basically desolate, with only a couple of sellers in sight. I couldn't even find any baking supplies there. It was growing dark, so Harry asked if I wanted to crash at his place. I had nowhere else to go, so I agreed. Harry's house was shockingly small, but it was clean and cozy. His father is a doctor, and his mom takes care of his 3-year-old sister. They kindly welcomed me and invited me to have dinner with them. Although it was frugal, to say the least, and I could tell that everyone was still hungry after the meal. I have a loaf of bread in my pack. I'd love to share it with you all if that's okay, to thank you for your hospitality. Harry's mother smiled and nodded, and his little sister squealed in delight as she dug into the loaf of bread.
Since the famine began, everyone has suffered, even the ones with good jobs. We've all needed to tighten our belts a bit.
Just then, a loud thumping sounded at the front door.
Open this door now, or we will kick it down!
As Harry and his parents rushed to the door, I hid in another room, afraid that I would be recognized. The guards were there, demanding tax payment, or else the family would be removed from their home. It hurt me to watch them fork over the money, searching their pockets to count every last coin they had. That night, I tossed and turned. I couldn't stop thinking about how Queen Miranda could oppress her own people to this point. I was flooded with guilt, thinking about how gleefully Anne and I would share the tributes taken from these poor people, unaware that they were suffering and starving. I couldn't stay in bed any longer. I crept out into the hallway and down the stairs, and suddenly spotted Harry's father, reading a book under a lamplight. I'm sorry to disturb you.
No worries. Anything I could help you with?
I actually do need your help. You see, I left the palace because I wanted to confirm something. If you could please compare my DNA to this person believes she's my birth mother.
Sure. It might take a couple of days.
That's fine, but please do not tell anyone about this. He looked confused, like he wanted to ask more questions, but seeing how reserved I was, he didn't. The next morning, I helped Harry and his mother clean up the houses of other people who couldn't pay the tax last night. The guards had ransacked a number of homes looking for the money, and now they were left starving and penniless. It couldn't go on like this. I need to find a way to feed the people first. So I came up with the idea of hunting some wild animals in the forest for food. Then I instructed each household to build a hidden cellar under the ground to store their food and keep their properties to themselves. I was so focused on the dire situation that I didn't even have time to worry about the DNA results until I received them that evening.
The result shows that you and the other person are indeed related.
I see.
It also shows that the other DNA belongs to the late Queen Mary. May I know how this is possible?
It's because Queen Mary is still alive. And if the result is true, that means I really am her daughter. At that moment, Harry unexpectedly entered the room. Jaw dropped.
You're what?
Hey, Diana here. Last time you saw me, I had received some life-changing news. I'd lived in a beautiful castle my entire life, but only as a servant to my best friend, Princess Anne, until I was revealed a huge secret. I was actually the daughter of the late Queen Mary. Only she wasn't dead. She was being held prisoner by her sister, the current Queen Miranda. Also, that made me a real princess. I was still skeptical about it, so I went on a mission to find answers and free Mary. I found a friend in Harry, a delivery driver for the castle who showed me the poor conditions most people in the kingdom were living in. But the thing is, I didn't spill a word to anyone about my identity until I received my DNA results, confirming a connection with Queen Mary.
Why? All this time, you've been keeping it from us? Your citizens?
I had my reason, okay? And I only found out about this not long ago. But yes, Queen Mary is indeed still alive. Then I began to tell Harry and his father the whole story. I know it sounds crazy, but
I believe you. DNA doesn't lie. I'm sorry for doubting you. But the important thing is, you're the true heir to the throne. You're gonna be the key to end Miranda's tyranny. Slow down, son. We'll need a perfect plan, or else it would cost us our lives. And we can't do it without you, Diana.
I couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. The fate of the whole country was now resting on my shoulders, and I wasn't sure I was ready. I needed a little time to clear my head, so I took a walk through the town street, only to see this heartbreaking scene.
Please, Diana, help us. Our supply is running out, and we'll soon owe grand tributes to the palace. Next month is Princess Anne's coronation.
I didn't know what to say to them. I couldn't promise I would succeed. Gosh, I just needed one moment away from all this. I snuck away to a hill, and shortly after, Harry found me.
You're okay? I'm sorry if I put a lot of pressure on you. Just know that you don't owe us anything, and it's up to you whether you want to do this or not.
I really appreciate that. But yeah, I knew I had to do this. Just not sure how.
Don't worry, okay? We'll figure this out together.
For a minute there, I lost track of everything as I gazed into his sparkling eyes. But this is not the time, Diana. I shook my head, and when I opened my eyes again, the lights from the aristocratic area lit up. That's when it hit me. Hey, let's ask the Noble District for help. They have more resources than they could ever need.
We've tried that, but every single time they'd send hunting dogs to chase us away.
So they're just as corrupted as Miranda. Then we'll have to take it from them instead.
Let's assemble the people.
The next morning, everyone gathered at the square. I had rehearsed my speech all night, and I was ready. Citizens of our kingdom, listen to me carefully. Rise up and reclaim what belongs to you from the nobles and the dictator Miranda. We can't keep our heads down and put up with this anymore. We need to unite and fight them for our resources.
But we're not fighters. They take us down immediately.
That won't happen. We outnumbered them by a wide gap. We can beat them if we're willing to. So, what do you say? No one replied. They all looked concerned and doubted my words. Right then, some nobles walking their ferocious hunting dogs passed by.
Hey, what the heck do you think you're up to? Dissolve, immediately.
Then they released their barking dogs on the crowd. People started screaming in fear. I tried my best to calm them and bring the truth to light. Can't you see? These people and the Queen live in luxury because they robbed us of our food, our wealth, our dignity. Do you know what the beef and pork you work so hard to raise are used for? To feed these dogs. Meanwhile, all you have to get by on is dry, moldy bread. And you're just gonna accept that? Do you want to spend your whole life bowing down to these cold-blooded people? I held my breath as they murmured to each other. Then they stood up taller, stronger, together.
Get out of our town. You have no power over us anymore.
They shouted at the nobles, forced them and their dogs to retreat. The people cheered as they left the city square. Harry and I looked at each other, knowing we needed to act now. So we led the people to the nobles' food storage to reclaim everything that rightfully belonged to them. The news of our coup quickly reached Queen Miranda, who issued a nationwide warrant for my arrest. I had to watch my back everywhere I went, but luckily, the citizens were looking out for me too. Like when the soldiers were on to me, Aaron, the flower shop owner, told me to hide in his flower cart. When they approached, he replied,
"No one is here except me, you fools. Get out of my way."
Then continued to push his cart away, leaving the soldiers dumbfounded. Another time, I was on the run again from the nobles when the trolley came near. The driver told me to hop on, then handed me a uniform and a fake mustache, and voila! We confused the heck out of those nobles. But there were many more encounters like that with Miranda's minion. It'd be a matter of time before they caught me, so we had to overthrow Miranda before that happened. At the same time, we also needed to get a stable food resource for the people. I knew the castle's layout like the back of my hand, so we hatched a plan to sneak in. And we had to take action before the coronation ceremony, when Anne is supposed to ascend the throne. If not, Anne would just become Miranda's puppet, and the country would endure her tyranny for many more decades. This was our only chance, because the palace's security would be at its most vulnerable since everyone would be gathered at the chapel preparing for the coronation. It is time to end this, once and for all. The night before the coronation, we snuck into the castle as planned. I led a group of people disguised as servants down to the dungeon to rescue Queen Mary. Meanwhile, Harry led the rest of the storage warehouse to seize the largest food storage in the palace to make the enemy surrender entirely. But when we arrived at the dungeon, Miranda was already there.
"Diana, what are you doing here? Run, now!"
"Shut up, sister.
I was waiting for my niece."
How did you know I'm here?
Ha! Do you genuinely believe you could pull off this foolish treason plan without my notice? Guess you really are nothing more than a dumb maid. Guards, bring them out.
I turned around and saw the guards dragging Harry and his team to the cellar.
My guards have already captured your other crew in the warehouse. It's time to end your ridiculous rebellion.
You...
Unless you'd like them to be banished from the kingdom instead.
Do whatever you want with me, but leave these people. Miranda smirked hearing my words and ordered the guards to throw me along with the others in the cell.
Please, Miranda, she doesn't deserve to rot in here. You still can't shake off that rambling habit after all these years, sister?
You'll never get away with this. You've oppressed your own people to their limits. Someday soon, they're going to rise up and overthrow you.
Big words for such a little brat. Let me guess, even you couldn't tell that your own partner is my right-hand man, aren't you?
What? Harold the Count? You're lying. It can't be. Harry, why are you standing there? Say something. But he only turned away, in shame. So this is real? Had he been pretending to be on the people's side all along? What about his family?
I asked him to turn you over for my guarantee of his family's safety and a lifetime supply of food, and he agreed. He had no obligation to you now. He's already betrothed to Princess Anne.
Betrothed?
You'll have the rest of your life in the dungeon to think it over, brat. Harold, let's go.
I was dumbfounded when I suddenly heard a familiar voice echoing through the dungeon. Diana, where are you? Anne, is that you? I'm straight ahead. There you are. I was so worried when you suddenly disappeared. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you everything. It's okay. I just heard the whole thing since I followed the guards who dragged Harold down here. But don't you worry, I can plead to my mother to release you, under the condition that you and your mom leave the country and never return. Why? You don't really think you can stand against my mom, do you? There's no end to this, Diana. I know, but with your help, we might be able to turn things around. We have to fight for what we believe in, Anne. You still want a simple life and to open a bakery, right? This is your chance. But she's my mother. How could I turn against her? Please, Diana, just listen to me. No, Anne. I can't do that to all the people who are suffering out there.
We'd rather stand here forever than be free and act like Miranda didn't commit all her crimes.
I guess, from now on, we go our separate ways. Goodbye, Anne. Anne burst out crying and left. I slumped at the corner of the dead silent cell. What was I thinking? That I could make a change? And now I had failed everyone. Queen Mary, Stella, Harold, Anne, and everyone else. I don't think I could do this anymore.
Don't cry now, dear. This isn't the end.
I don't even know anymore. There's no way out. Harry must have known I could never succeed. So he switched sides, right? So did Anne.
No, they might have had their reasons, but they did what they did, and it's not your fault. I know it's hard, but you need to get it together. This is not the time to show weakness.
As much as I didn't think I could, I was determined to try. Early the next morning, another group, led by Harold's father, unexpectedly showed up for mine and Queen Mary's rescue. How did you know we were here?
Harry contacted me last night and asked for help. So, here we are.
You see? Not only me, but the people also believe in you. I suddenly understood why Harold had to pretend to be on Queen Miranda's side yesterday. He had a backup plan all along. Now we needed to go stop the coronation ceremony ASAP, before it was too late. When we arrived, Anne was already walking up to receive the crown. I dashed through the spectators to get to the front of the crowd. Stop! I object to Princess Anne's coronation because I, Diana, daughter of Queen Mary, am the legitimate heir to the throne, and I have the DNA test as proof. The crowd grew loud as they reacted to this news. Even the soldiers stopped in their tracks.
Guards! Seize her!
Before they could reach me, Harold and a group of civilians created a human shield around me, ready to protest.
Order! Order! That evidence is fabricated and there's no proof of its validity. Don't be fooled by her.
At that moment, Queen Mary finally made her entrance, and the crowd went dead silent.
Citizens of our kingdom, I'm your Queen Mary, and I'm very much alive. But I've been held captive for so many years by none other than my sister, Miranda. It was she who took advantage of my weakness after Diana was born to seize control of the kingdom. Now, she and all of you know the truth, and you know that Miranda is not your— Stop all this ridiculousness! I am still the queen of this kingdom, regardless of how. This is treason. Seize them all, now!
But no one did as she said. The soldiers, officials, and the entire crowd turned to face Queen Mary and bowed before their true queen for the first time in 18 years. Miranda angrily charged towards us, but she took a surprise detour to prison, where she'll await trial. Then an official returned the crown to Queen Mary, but she didn't put it on. Instead, the ceremony was started again, and I was crowned as the new queen of the kingdom. Are you sure? I still have so much to learn.
Why don't you see it for yourself? All hail Queen Diana! Thanks to you, we are saved from the famine and the dictator. You gave us a better life. You are the queen we've been praying for.
I could burst out crying hearing their chanting.
You see, being a queen is not about immense wealth or influence. It is truly about what you have to offer to the world and who you are inside. And you, my dear, are ready for this.
Thank you. I'll try my best to live up to your legacy, Mom. I gave her the biggest hug as the crowd cheered on. And so, I officially became the queen. My first order of duty was to return what rightfully belonged to the people. I promised myself that from now on, no one will suffer under my rule. As the people gathered their things, Harold came wanting to talk, and we left for somewhere private.
Diana, I want to be honest with you. I originally became a royal official because I wanted to change Miranda's mind and help the people, but no one took me seriously. They said I should know my place and be grateful that a commoner like me landed a place among the nobility. They even forced me to be the one who delivered the tributes from the people to the castle. It made me sick. But the moment I met you, I felt joy and happiness, the kind that I hadn't felt for a while now. I didn't want to accept the truth that I was betrothed to Anne. I just wanted to be with you.
I didn't know you feel that way. Mom told me you like me and want to be with me, and she'll let us be after I was sent the throne. Anne!
I'm sorry to say this, Princess Anne, but your mother has been deceiving you. I was only engaged to you by her force, not my own will. I deeply regret disappointing your feelings.
I'd never expected my first love would end like this, but I'm glad for you, Diana. You too have my blessing. Oh, Anne, I never meant to hurt you. No, this will be good for me. I can finally leave the castle and have a normal life. Become a baker, like I always wanted. Thanks to you, Queen Diana. As sad as it made me to lose her, we'd grown up together after all. I knew it was best to respect her decision and let her go. It was what we both needed. Now that everything else is sorted out, I can breathe a sigh of relief. Oh, wait. Not yet. Harry or Harold? Which one is it?
Whichever one you like.
Let me make this clear. I'm still mad at you for lying. So you'll face punishments, mister.
Well, look who's flexing their power on day one of the reign.
What? You dare challenge the queen?
No. This humble servant of yours is ready to obey the almighty queen's orders for the rest of my life.
Then I order you to kiss me now.
At your service, your majesty.
Then he pulled me closer and swept me off my feet with the most passionate kiss ever. Guess my story does end like a fairy tale after all, huh?
Oh God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream?
According to the poet, this world and all existing life is an illusion of sorts. As reality doesn't exist, philosophers refer to it as dream argument and dream hypothesis.
What? What an interesting lesson! By the way, look at how there's a ray of sunshine coming through the curtains. That's so pretty. This kind of weather indeed puts you in such a dreamy mood, huh?
Yeah, right. But remember, there is no rose without thorns. That sunshine may look glorious, but it will harm your eyes.
Yeah, I know. The maids always tell me that sunlight is the enemy for me, for my beautiful, sensitive blue eyes. Looking at it once, and I'll never be able to see anything again. That's why I've never been allowed to leave this castle. My maids all look identical in those masks, don't they? When I was a child, of course, I once got curious, and I pulled one of them off. As punishment, I was denied dessert for a whole week. And worse still, it wasn't worth it, as the maid's face was exceedingly ordinary. The masks looked far better. Anyway, I suppose all that matters is that they take great care of me. Each day they bring me food, water, and new clothes. I was sipping my leek and potato soup when I heard a scream. "Let me out!" Curious, I went and hid in a corner and saw two maids attempting to lock the screaming girl into a room. I've never seen that girl in this castle before. I wonder if she's from the outside world. Poor her. It looks like she can't control herself. The world out there is scary. Perhaps it has sent her into madness. It's much safer here in the castle. I can play all day, paint, knit, and read. Oh, how peaceful. But I still couldn't stop thinking about that poor girl. I wonder what will happen to her. The screaming didn't stop, and my curiosity got the best of me, so I snuck into the girl's room. Shh! Stop screaming! No one is listening.
Who are you?
My name is Mistress. What's yours?
Mistress isn't a name. Are you stupid?
It's just a name. Everybody here calls me that. This girl was so stubborn. She seemed to be wary of everything. Poor little outside world girl. After much persistence, she told me that her name was Nora. I was about to ask her why she was here, when suddenly 2 maids appeared and dragged me away.
Mistress, you should not interact with this wicked girl, and you mustn't be late for your embroidery class.
It was nice to finally get to talk to a girl my own age, and I must admit that given her brash nature, I found Nora rather interesting. During class, I kept thinking about how I could sneak out and see her again.
Ah!
Ouch! That annoying girl's screaming made me prick my finger. I ran out to check on her, but the maids immediately blocked my way. Perhaps I could talk some sense into her. Trust me, the last time I spoke to her, she was acting totally normal. The desperate maids exchanged looks, then let me go to her. As predicted, when I approached Nora, she stopped screaming. Hey, it's Ariana. That's my real name. Screaming never works here. Just pretend you're listening to my words, then I'll help you out. The maids were quite surprised when Nora immediately calmed herself down and showed signs of following directions, so they let us be and left. We began to chat, and ever since then, the maids let me see Nora every day. She told me how before her mother died, she gave Nora an address to find her biological father, who she'd never met before. Nora's grandma helped her set up a meeting with him and took her to the meeting point. She was so nervous, but happy at the same time to finally meet her dad. And at first, he was as kind and charming as she imagined. But then unexpectedly, right after they said goodbye to her grandma, he brought Nora here and let those masked people lock her up. But you're fortunate to be here, as it's safe.
No, it's not. That's just what they want you to believe.
Then Nora told me about the outside world, about her friends, school, and shopping malls. Every day, she even drew me paintings of the outside world, of beautiful memories with her family, her mom who passed away, and also her dad, even though she only met him once. Family? What is that? All I'd ever known were the faceless maids. The next day when I visited Nora as usual, she suddenly told me,
Sis, we need to get out of here.
What do you mean? This is my home.
No, it's not. It's a prison. Who on earth stays inside for 14 years, huh?
It's because of my eyes. I'll go blind if I go out there. My maids only want the best for me. That's why they keep me here.
Are you crazy? You've been tricked. Just think about it. Do you know who gave birth to you? And why did that person leave you with these people? Or are these people the ones who took you away from your mom? Don't you want to find out the truth?
This was my home, wasn't it? But thinking about what Nora just said, as well as the outside world that she rambled about every day, I suppose it would be interesting to experience it for myself. I'd just have to try my best to protect my eyes. So, I snuck into the housekeeper's room and stole the front door key. As we approached the main hall leading to the door, we saw a masked woman standing by a man. In his arms was a young girl, deep asleep.
Huh? That's my dad.
What? Did he come to pick you up or something?
Don't you see that they're all in the same boat? And she's the ringleader.
I peered closer at them and spotted the masked woman's silver hair and luxurious dress. Isn't that my tester? She lives in the Grand Suite and visits me weekly to assess my learning and etiquette.
Mom, how are you going to handle this case? Just leave her in the empty room at the end of the hallway,
As for Nora, I think she'll settle in properly in a week or so. Then we can start her etiquette and culture lessons. Which Nora? Ah, I remember. Besides, you should restrict yourself a bit. Ariana, Nora, and now this child? Don't let the list of your illegitimate children be as long as your arm. Then you can just throw them away somewhere. Why bother raising them? They are my grandchildren, after all. They can't end up like those street rats. And who knows? They may become useful. But this has to be the last one. We can't risk Laura finding out about us. It would ruin our family's affluent name. Do you understand? I know. But fear not, as my wife is kind and foolish. She is completely clueless to these matters, thanks to your smart move.
So, we were this heartless man's illegitimate children? And because of his deceit, he was forcing us to live in darkness? I don't want to be locked up and lied to any longer. We needed to escape. From then on, Nora kept her act up and behaved like an angel, which eventually led to us being allowed to study together. And today is the day.
Oriana is having a convulsion! We must take her to the hospital as soon as possible!
However, the maids called the doctor to come round here instead. No! The plan was to escape when we were taken outside. If the doctor came here, he'd discover that my rashes were painted on and our plan would be disclosed. Okay, plan B. I was still lying on the bed playing the whole role of a patient, while Nora locked the door of the room and went to the bathroom screaming.
Help! There's a giant spider in here!
As expected, the doctor went to check. Then Nora immediately locked him in. Then we quickly took the knotted string made of the fabrics and embroidery class out from under the bed and then escaped through the window. Ah! I got my head between my hands as soon as I landed. I didn't expect it to be so bright outside. It's burning my eyes, Nora!
What? There's no time for your hysterics. You'll be done if you're stuck here anyway. Just open your eyes and run! Hurry up!
But I'm scared! Huh? Nothing happened. My eyes seemed fine. But no time to celebrate, as then I saw... Oh my God. A couple of maids were chasing after me. Nora pulled my hand and ran towards the garden. Fortunately, we were already out of their sight when...
Woof, woof!
A huge hound appeared out of nowhere and growled at us. I crouched down in a bush and watched Nora wave the dog closer, and then pat him. What? Magic! The dog suddenly became unusually obedient and led us to a secret place. A dog-sized passageway. I hesitated, but seeing the maids gaining on us, I reluctantly squeezed through it real quick. I can't believe I'm putting my destiny in the hands of this reckless girl. She said we had to get to her grandmother's house right away for help. What are those things running back and forth on the road? Why are they making that loud, annoying noise? And why is Nora waving her arms about? Did she want them to stop? Too bad nobody did, as she's no princess. We kept wandering until we saw something which Nora called a truck parked on the roadside. She rushed over, then helped me onto the back of it. Oh, it was full of bananas. I stuffed my mouth full of them to ward off my starvation, while the scenery kept changing. That thing stopped, and we immediately got off before getting caught. I held her tight, frightened of all the people around us. They kept staring at me. And what kind of style was that? They all looked very peculiar. Maybe they were just commoners. Then we used our power to demand a man to take us to Nora's grandma's. Oh, it was exhausting. What? The outside is actually beautiful, sparkling with all those lights. And there are exhibitions of everything in the world, such as food, toys, flowers, and even creatures. Yes, everything. But the most important thing was that my eyes didn't get sore looking at those shiny things at all. Nora's grandma seems kind, but her home is full of the strangest of items. While Nora told her what had happened, I found myself bewitched by the talking black box on the wall. Suddenly, Nora's grandma led us to her far smaller truck and took us to somewhere called the Cops. They all wore these same funny outfits and bombarded us with dozens of confusing questions. And what exactly is an ID card? A few days later, there was news that the cops had caught my so-called dad, grandma, and maids also. As predicted, he was a womanizer, so when his lovers asked him to support his children, he was so afraid that his wife would find out that he took these children and locked them away in the castle. They're currently awaiting something called a trial, which Nora says is where bad people get their comeuppance. Whoa! The world outside is so busy. I didn't realize there'd be so many unmasked faces. And that strange talking box still startles me, especially when someone is holding a weapon. Nora says when I've adjusted to my new life a little more, I'll start school with her. And one day I'll even learn how to drive one of those smaller trucks. But firstly, she's teaching me how to dress like other people do. And use this brick to communicate with them. This world is puzzling. But I'm sure with Nora's help, I'll soon find my feet. Even if it's just so I can learn how to reply to my dashing neighbor.